They fined me $2,500 for fishing in my own backyard lake, the one I bought this house for the one my granddad taught me to cast on when I was a kid. So I did the only thing that made sense to a stubborn man who drinks his coffee black at sunrise. I bought the water rights, yeah. That happened. And if you stick with me, I'll show you exactly how a clipboard, a couple of forged timelines, and a neighborhood that forgot how to look each other in the eye turned into the best revenge I never planned on. I moved to Birch Hollow, North Carolina after the divorce. 4 bedrooms, I didn't need cedar siding. That smells like rain, a modest dock on a 1-3-acre lake that turns bronze when the sun slides up. I paid $472,000 not because I wanted more space, but because I wanted that stillness again. The kind where you can hear a bluegill kiss the surface from 50 yards, and your breath finally matches the water I kept. Granddad Ray's dented tackle box, the cherry tobacco smell baked into the hinges, kept his rules. To keep your hooks sharp, never crowd a fallen log. Drink your coffee like a grown-up. Most mornings, hoodie boots steam. Curling from the mug cast toward the same limb. Neighbors, wave kids ask what I'm catching. The HOA fee is a forgettable $115. A month lights flowers by the entrance. Nothing dramatic peace felt possible again. Then one Tuesday, I hear those heels on gravel. Sharp little metronome clicks. I turn, and there's Deborah Sloan, HOA president windbreaker, zipped like she's clocking in for a crime scene clipboard. Under one arm, tape measure, and the other chin. Set to the exact angle that lets you know you're already guilty, sir. You cannot fish here anymore. No hello, no good morning, just a verdict. I laugh because it's my dock, and my fence, and my mortgage. You're kidding, I say. She kneels and fans out paperwork, like she's prepping for surgery. Stamps, seals, paragraphs, written by someone allergic to periods. This body of water has been reclassified as a community resource under county guidelines, she says, tapping a line with a manicure that could carve marble. All recreational use requires permits and fees. Violations are assessed immediately. She snaps the tape and starts measuring my dock like she's roping a calf. Photographs my rod. The tackle box, even the coffee cup, like it might detonate. Then she hands me a crisp citation for $2,500 and walks off without a smile, just those clicks fading into morning. At first, I think it's a bad joke. I call the county polite guy. Says the filings exist. The forms look right. If I disagree, I can start a process that costs a car down payment and takes longer than a baseball season. I call a lawyer. He says 40 grand retainer. Year plus timeline. No promises that night. A yellow notice shows up on my door dock violation. $800, removal in 48 hours. Exact dimensions listed. Like someone paced my boards in their sleep, which is funny because nobody's been inside my fence. Then I scroll my security cams and there she is, at 5:12 a.m. Deborah with a flashlight and a tape measuring in the dark like a raccoon that learned zoning. The fine stack, $600 for storage. $400 for landscaping, $300 for noise, and by noise, I mean stirring sugar. Neighbors who used to wave study their shoes. Kids who liked the bobber get tugged inside by anxious moms. It's amazing how fast a friendly cul-de-sac can feel like a courtroom. You know what I mean? My next-door neighbor, Walt Briggs, 73, retired county records guy, with a hat that says, "Take a kid fishing," shuffles over while I'm at the mailbox. Son, she's done this before, he says, voice low, like we're trading state secrets. Same rhythm, same fines, same foreclosure company on the letters. Folks sell fast and cheap. Then some holding company, nobody knows, swoops in. He taps the envelope with a knuckle. But her timing's wrong. Government's slow. She's too fast. Means she's filing after the fact. Or bending clocks. It lands in my gut like a sinker hitting mud. 2 days later, Kara Hines knocks HOA secretary and treasurer single mom bank teller. Empathy built into her posture. She takes decaf because her nerves are already singing slides. A copy of a check across my island. $52,000, she whispers. Payment to Blue Summit Lake Management. Deborah pushed it through last year. I wrote it. There's no receipt, no confirmation. Every time I ask for documentation, she says it's handled administratively. She glances toward the window like Deborah's hiding in the azaleas. She says mistakes could cost me my job. I can't sleep. I feel that particular kind of anger that's half protective and half tired, so I do what I know. I start mapping the mess. I pull property records, match sale prices to filing dates. Plot shell companies with names that sound like scented candles. Sloan Community Services. Quiet Harbor. Holdings. Pine Ridge. Realty. I see 6 houses sold under pressure, all bought by the same web. I run the math, and somebody's shaving 40 to 50 grand per door by turning neighbors into problems and timing foreclosures like harvest. Walt returns with a smoking timestamp server. Logs, metadata. The stuff, paper. Bullies forget is stitched into the system. She collected fines on Monday, he says, sliding screenshots to me. Filed authority on Wednesday. Backdated it to Saturday. Systems don't lie. That's fraud. Look at the lake and feel this weird calm. Like the moment a knot cinches tight. See, the board actually voted years back to obtain real water management rights for the lake baseline standards. Water quality. That stuff, the money just never reached any legitimate authority. It sank into a hole with Deborah's fingerprints around the edge. So what if I stop boxing with her and pick up the ring? What if I buy the rights? The HOA thinks it holds, and she pretends to wield, then use them the right way. It sounds ridiculous until it doesn't. I liquidate part of my retirement, eat the early withdrawal penalties after taxes. I've got $81,000. I draft a simple offer. $68,000 for the water management contract, enough to make the numbers work, and the vote easy. News hits Deborah like electricity. She moves fast, convinces a judge. I'm a threat, waves a statement. She's squeezed out of Kara with workplace fear. Lands me a temporary restraining order that gags me from the very meeting where my fate gets decided. I'm outside the community room with my hands in my pockets. While inside, she says, I'm obstructing safety and hurting property values. And if you've ever been shut out of a room where your name is on the agenda, you know that particular helpless heat. Walt looks at me like a man about to break a rule he wrote. I'm done being quiet, he says. Then he goes deeper into the county system than I know how, and finds the key, uneditable server logs that show Deborah altered timestamps, fines, first authority. Later, the backdating laid out like tire tracks in wet clay. This isn't a policy fight, he says. This is a crime. The emergency board meeting feels like a courtroom, wearing a church basement disguise, folding chairs, Costco. Cookies, 28. 8 residents buzzing. Walt steps to the microphone and lays it out clean and check to Blue Summit. With no receipt shell, companies tied to one address. Properties bought under market fines, collected before authority existed. He holds up the logs and the room goes cold. Then Kara stands, hands shaking. Voice. Steady, she threatened me. Told me to sign a statement, or she'd make sure my bank looked into irregularities. There aren't any. I was scared. I rescind it now. And that's the twist. The whole room shifts. You can feel people recalibrate on the spot. Walt says the simple thing. Sell the water management rights right now. Recover more than you paid. And this. Deborah tries to rally with big words. Precedent, liability harmony. But the math is clean, and the receipts are cleaner. The vote passes with 2 no's. Hers and her last loyal friend. And just like that, I become the legal authority.